It's in the 90 degrees. Every available space in the garden is already full, and somehow this is when I'm supposed to start planting for fall. I've never completely mastered this transition. So today, we're gonna start on the planting adventure. We're gonna see if I can keep fall weather crops alive through the hottest part of summer, and then squeeze in one more crop of beans at the same time. Okay, well, I am on an adventure. I'm on a planting adventure, and I'm bringing you along here. I'm calling it a planting adventure because in the last couple of years, I have not done any planting for fall specifically. I've just let what kind of remained in the summer garden extend on into the fall season, and that has carried me through. And I've mentioned that in prior videos that some of the kale that I have planted that just is new this year, for example, will continue to leaf just fine through the fall. So it's not like I feel like I need to plant new kale. But I figured, hey, why don't I give it a go and see if we can plant some things. The challenge, I've never quite mastered fall planting, to be honest with you. So we'll work on it together here. And the challenge that I've had is how you get basically what are cool weather crops started in the heat of summer. We're now toward the end of July, and as we speak today, it's in the upper 90s. It was in the upper 90s yesterday. So how do we start plants in the heat of summer that are cool weather crops, and then how do we keep them cool and growing unchecked through the heat up until the next 30 to, well, really 60 days, right? So probably through mid-September, and then boom, they're ready to take off and do well in the cool weather that they're designed for. That's the real trick. And there's a couple of different ways that I have considered doing it. Maybe we'll try both here. One would be that I'm keeping the plants in the garage where it gets warm, but I've got fans on and stuff just because I otherwise work in the garage. I have my office in there. And so maybe I'm keeping plants more in there during germination and then during the early stages so that they can really get established better, and then moving them out after that. Another possibility is that I'm keeping the plants in the holding area and I'm keeping them kind of in the shaded part of the holding area and moving them out to the sun for maybe part of the day to get some sun, but mostly just keeping them well shaded and well watered. If that could work, I would love that option because it's less overhead, right? You're not having to bring things into the garage, you're not having to have the lights on and all that sort of thing. So I may try both. We'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna start with a little bit of a cheat. I have some onions that were planted probably like 45 days ago, and they would be bigger now if they had been given more nutrition and room to run. So I'm gonna transfer them over to 4-inch pots and some a little more fertilizer, ongoing fertilizer, and we can keep growing them from there. These are bunching onions. And the other thing about planting right now, the other challenge with doing fall planting is beyond the heat issue. I actually don't have any space in the garden, right? I won't have any space in the garden until at least sometime mid-September probably, because everything I've got in there, I didn't leave space for fall crops. Everything I've got in there has to be done with or died out. Now, what I think will happen is squashes, for example, the summer squashes, the zucchinis and things like that, will get powdery mildew, as they always do this time of year. As we get into August, I should say, not yet, but as I get into August, mid-August, they'll start to get powdery mildew, and then they'll really ramp up, and then it'll really be a problem by mid-September, and then those plants will be done. And so I think that's what will give me space, is the squash that has powdery mildew, and then give me space to put some of these things in now. So, but what that means is that beyond the keeping it shaded, I also just have to grow it in nursery pots. I have to grow everything I'm doing in nursery pots until it can actually go into the fall garden, which which means I can't just grow it in cell trays. I've got to keep potting it up and grow it until it gets to be bigger plants. I'll have to do that if I'm going to maybe try some broccoli and various things. I'll have to do that with those as well. So that's my strategy. I may try some lettuce too. Again, seeing if we can do it with shade and with keeping it watered and potting it up and just really babying it, how we can get there. Well, let's start with these onions. Okay, well, let's get going. The potting soil that I have in here is a mix of potting soil that I've been taking out of things that terminated plants, and then some new potting soil that I got from Costco and just stored the last few days. Usually Costco will have potting soil in the spring and then it'll stop carrying it as you get into summer, and that's exactly what happened. And so I usually will buy a couple of extra bags in the spring just so that it can try to carry me over for projects like this during the summer. This is very dry, so I'm going to go ahead and give it some water before I even start potting up. Okay. And I'll give it a little bit more. Go. Just gonna take that out and drop it in, and the rest of that just becomes potting soil for later. And throw one more in here. Since each one of these has several onions started in it. There we go. I could take the whole plug. I didn't intend to just take the onion with the root, but onions are pretty good at transplanting, I find, usually. So as long as you treat them nice afterwards. So I'll just throw those in like that, and then there's one pot. A little bit of water. Okay, over there. Let's do another one. Fine with this potting soil, I should wear gloves because I get little slivers in my hands occasionally doing this. I should wear gloves, but then I have to take them on and off. Water that in. Ugh. Okay. There's that one. I thought I planted an onion there and the whole onion's gone. I don't know what happened to it. These things are so... Oh, there it is. It's like hanging off the side of this thing. Okay. Let me try that again. Do one more here. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, well, this next thing that I'm going to plant is a second round summer crop that I am posing as a as a fall crop. So bush beans. My bush beans are now coming in right now, and so I want to plant some more. That I think I can sneak them in. I think I can plant some more bush beans right now, and they will be ready before the end of September. And that will, like I said, that'll pose as a fall crop, but technically a summer crop. It's different than the other fall crops I was talking about, because I was mentioning my concern over trying to start cool weather crops in this weather. I have no concern about starting the beans in this weather. They're going to pop up and they're going to love it. They're going to go crazy with and they're going to grow fast with having the heat here. And so it is, I guess you can say it's a fall crop from the standpoint that it has bear its fruit. The beans will be ready as we get into fall, but I think of it as a summer crop in terms of what its growing conditions actually are. It likes to grow in the heat. So that's the same thing with like squash, right? Winter squash, we already planted. You plant winter squash usually the end of spring or the very beginning of summer. Pumpkins, things of that nature, and they're a summer growing item. They grow through the heat of summer, but they often aren't ready until the fall. Is that a fall crop or it's a fall crop? It's a fall harvest, but it's a summer. It's a summer. It's taking up space in the summer garden. Let's say it that way. And winter squash, the name is counterintuitive because winter squash likes the heat. Pumpkins like the warmth and the heat to grow with. Anyway, okay, so let me get these going here. The potting soil that I mixed in here with the new potting soil that I mixed in with the recycled potting soil already has some fertilizer in it, so just came in the bag that way. So I'm not going to add fertilizer to this because beans don't need a lot of fertilizer to germinate in the first place, and then there's already something there to kind of keep them going. And this is something I will have to find room for in some space in the garden. But I mean, I've got beans that I'm harvesting now that will be coming out. Those plants will be pulled out, so I should have space from that at very least to plant these in. I could direct sow these in theory. I like to watch my germination and see what's actually working before I have things take up space in the garden. So using my normal method here, I'm gonna plant the beans in these cell trays, get them going, and then once they're germinated, I'm gonna put them out in the garden beds. These I will not put in the garage. I'm confident I can germinate them and get them going just sitting in my holding area. Although the challenge I have there, I was just looking at my holding area and room. I've got the Dahlia bulbs, which I investigated, and so many of them, actually very few of them were actually rotted. Most of them actually had roots in them but still haven't sprouted. So I'm still like holding on to these Dahlia bulbs that haven't sprouted yet, and that's taking up a lot of space in my holding area. So I don't know about that. That'll be an interesting, we get to the end of the season and they've never sprouted. That'll be a interesting result to the Dahlia bulbs rooting but never quite sprouting. Okay, I'm gonna pre-water these, give them a little bit of moisture there. sticking my thumb on the camera to ensure that the screen, that it was actually on. I start rambling and going and then realize my cameras aren't even on, and all that good rambling didn't get didn't get recorded. I guess whether it's good rambling is a question, isn't it? We planted some yellow beans, and I still have some, but I'm going to actually plant these purple ones instead, and so that my daughter have something different to look at. So she saw the yellow beans, and now she'll see the purple beans, and it'll be fun to kind of see the wheels turning in her head about the fact that Dad's beans are not green. At first they're yellow, and now they're purple, and it's fun to re-experience gardening through someone else's eyes sometimes. I'll do the whole tray. There's enough beans for that. If I ran out of purple beans, like I said, I still have some of the yellow ones left. I even have green ones, but I don't want to plant green bush beans because I have I don't want to plant green snap bush beans because I have some beans that I've planted and they're green, and I don't want to confuse myself because I don't remember which ones were where I planted the shelling and where I planted the snap beans. That's why I got the yellow and purple snap beans, was so that I could easily know that this one's for fresh eating and this one is for letting it dry so that it can be a shelling bean. Because I think last year I planted shelling beans and I never got any shelling beans, and I think it's because I harvested all the shelling beans as if they were snap beans by accident. Okay. Just dropping in one per cell here. This is one of the easiest planting jobs I can do. The beans are nice and big. It's easy to see when you put them in the tray. That one's split in half, so I'll put 2 in there. I did, side note, unrelated to planting beans here, I did get my first cherry tomato this morning. I got an orange Peruche, and I should have filmed it, but you know what? I couldn't wait. I just ate the thing. There's a couple more coming on, so I will be more disciplined and wait for the other 2 to become fully orange so I can film them on the vine and share the results with you all. That's July 20th or thereabouts, and got my first cherry tomato. How about you all? I think there were some of you that were getting flowers and even green tomatoes even before I even got my tomatoes in their homes for the garden for this season. So, and there's some of you who maybe had some tomatoes for weeks now. Is about the same as I always end up having. I always end up seeing tomatoes. First tomatoes might come in toward the end of July, after mid-July like this, and they start coming in, and it's really, tomatoes for me are really an August to September activity.
Wait, this one is
Good job.
rolling.
That's okay. You can put it in the basket. There you go.
So where we do that? So we do it like this?
That's right. Just one hand to hold it. There you go. And then, whoop. Yeah, hold it with this hand. Yep. And then pull. That's right. Wow, these are your first bean picking. You never picked beans before.
Now it's Doctor's turn.
Oh, there's a bunch over here too. Oh, it's Dad's turn? Okay.
Good job, Maddy. Wow, there's so many of them. It's gonna be a great harvest, huh?
That's gonna be a great harvest.
Whoa.
I like harvesting them.
I gotta plant some more beans.
Yeah, you got to put them close there. I will grab the other one.
How do you feel about those figs, Maddie?
The other one is for that though.